On the court, all stars make assists look easy. Behind the back, no look, or off the backboard, they're dropping dimes nonstop. That's how we feel about coverage and savings. Combine your home and auto with State Farm and start your own assist highlight reel. After all, even all stars need an assist. Call agent Paul Darning for help combining your home and auto and enjoy the savings. Dial 219-884-6947 or visit www.pauldarning.com. That's PAULDAWNING.com. Good afternoon, and welcome to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I am your host, Kevin King. He is I, and I am him, the 800 Credit Score Man himself. And again, thank each and every one of you guys for coming in and listening to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I truly appreciate it. And again, welcome to each and every one of you. So what are we going to talk about today? I've talked plenty of times on these airwaves about you checking and getting your credit report. I've told you where to get it, which is www.annualcreditreport.com. That's the official site to get your credit report granted to us through one of the credit reporting acts. That's the official place. But of course, you can get it other places as well. You know you can get it if you use a Credit Karma, a Credit Sesame, a Quizzle, or any one of those places that will allow you to have a copy of your actual credit report. And in some of those places, you actually get a credit score as well. What I have not done is to tell you what to look for when you are trying to get your credit report, especially if you're trying to get it at the official place, which again is www.annualcreditreport.com. And I'm going to mention that website probably 100 times on today's show, and you're going to get tired of it, but I guarantee you one thing, you're not going to forget it. So I've done the shows in the past where I've talked about this particular website, I've written about this particular website, and people always come back and say, hey, what's that website again? So you're going to hear it time and time again today, and you won't forget. www.annualcreditreport.com, all one word. That's where you can go to get your official credit report. So I'm going to tell you what to expect when you log on there so you can actually get your credit report. And the reason this came up is because I've had several people attempt to get their credit reports and they haven't been able to do so simply because they could not answer the questions that they're asking you to verify your identity. So it would be a shame if they asked you something simple like where do you live currently or something like that, or just the last four digits of your social security number. Hackers can find that information, so they have other questions that you are the only person should know. So they're going to be asking you those. I'm going to give you the heads up today on what those questions might be so you can get your free credit report. All right, so you know how I got to do it. I got to give out some shout outs and all of those things, and it's a lot of them today. 3 anniversary shout outs, wedding anniversary shout outs will be on the show today. So let me get the first one out right quick. The first anniversary shout out I want to give to Brad and Kara Townsend. They celebrated 18 years of wedded bliss. So happy anniversary to you guys. I got to give a shout out to John Henry King Jr. and Toya King. They celebrate a 5th anniversary, which is coming up on Sunday, I believe. So happy anniversary to you. Also, I got to give a shout out to Charles and Shakira Distance. They celebrate a 3rd year anniversary. So happy anniversary to all of those couples. May your best days of your past be the worst days of your future. So congratulations to you guys. The people that are at 5 years and at 3 years, and maybe you're at 8 years, you got to get to where Brad and Kara are at that 18 year, maybe that 20 year mark, maybe that 50, 60 year mark like my parents. So happy anniversary to you all. Okay, so let me jump in a little bit before I give another shout out, because I got to give a shout out that I missed last week as well. But let me jump into this. So what should you expect when you request your credit report from www.annualcreditreport.com. So since I've talked about it so much, I want to let you know, I want to come by here today to just let you know that I'm trying to give you the heads up so you can get that information. And the main reason is because if you don't get it right, when you go ahead and you enter that website in and you start to answer those questions, if you don't answer those questions right, they're not going to give you your credit report. They're also not going to, give you like some time, like, okay, your stuff is locked out, and then, in 3 days you'll be able to come back and try again. Once you're locked out, you are locked out. So they're not going to give you that credit report. So then if you want to get it after that, you've got to actually send them a letter and request your credit report. Now, our society has absolutely no patience at all for anything like that. People used to say, about the microwave generation. You want everything now. You want it fast. You want it ready. You want it hot. It's beyond that now. So now, if a website you're searching doesn't pop up within, 5 seconds, then you move on. So I'm going to give you the heads up today because, one, are you really actually going to write the letter to the credit bureau requesting your credit report? Are you really, really going to do that? And even if you say that you are, do you do it right then? Will you procrastinate and it'll be a week, a month before you do it, and you were trying to get it at that point in time for a reason, right? Because you want to start working on your credit or you want to see where you stand. Are you actually going to go ahead, write that letter, print that letter, get an envelope, lick it, stamp it, and put it in the mail? Are you actually going to do all of those things? I know for myself, I have had things to mail. I got it. One day, I got it, and I put it in my car. That was one day. The second day, I was like, oh, yeah, I got to get some stamps. Then, like by the third day, I went ahead and I got me some stamps. The fourth day, I probably actually sealed the envelope, put the stamp on it, but I forgot to take it to the post office. And then 3, 4, 5 more days later, I finally pulled it from over my visor and put that thing in the mail. So I know that I procrastinate like that, and maybe some of you guys do too as well. So it sounds like a lot if you gotta print the letter, get the envelope, lick it, stamp it, and put it in the mail. It sounds like a whole lot, especially to people that were born after 1990. So I want to give you the heads up on what you should look for. And you don't want to waste time. That's a waste of time to have to go ahead, write that letter, send it off. They're going to get it in 3 or 4 days. Then they're going to compile the information, give you another 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days before you can get it back. So whatever you were in the urgent state to do, when it was on your mind, you wanted to get this done right away, and logging on the internet was the best way, the easiest way to do that. Now that time has passed, so you don't want to waste time. And then one of the tenets of this show is to help you prepare for all of your credit related and some financial success in the same circumstance. So I want to give you the heads up on all of this information. So if you haven't gone there to get your credit report, and there is www.annualcreditreport.com, then please do so. Now, a third of the people overall have never checked their credit report. So they're totally flying blind, and they have no idea what's on their credit report. Now, if this isn't your first time listening to this show, then I know that you have checked your credit report and it's all good for you. But by the odd chance that you haven't done so, do so after the show. I bet you, I can probably guarantee you that the credit score kiss for today, and that's KISS, keep it smart and simple, that the credit score kiss for today is going to be for you to go and grab your credit report from www.annualcreditreport.com. So look, let's get into some of the things that you may get when you go to www.annualcreditreport.com. And the reason that they do this, again, is because they don't want hackers to be able to get into your account. And it doesn't mean that they can't get in there and grab your credit report from some source at all. but their attempt is to make it harder for them to do so. So what should you prepare, and why should you prepare prior to logging on? This is not a test. It's things that you should know, things that happened in your life. But if you haven't logged on, then you're going to be surprised by some of the questions that they're going to ask you. And so again, I want you to be prepared. So the first thing I want you to prepare for is this. You may need an old phone number. Yes, a question may be asked of you, something like this. So, did you have a phone number that ended in 6754? Now, this could be a home phone number. This could be a cell phone number. This number could be from 2 years ago, or it could be from 10 years ago. But that's something that they may ask you. And you may have no idea, not remember any of the old phone numbers that you've had. This is the reason I'm giving you this heads up, so you can start to think about some of those things. I remember the first time I saw this question when I logged on to www.annualcreditreport.com, and I did not remember that number until I saw it. So when I actually physically saw that number, then it popped in my head, yes, I remember having that particular number. So I know you're listening and you're like, what? They're going to ask me that? There's no way I'm going to remember it. Trust and believe me, start thinking about those things before you go logging on. And like I did, when I saw that number, I absolutely remembered it. They may ask you this as well, that you need old, not email addresses, you need old addresses, physical addresses where you may have lived. So they could ask you that. Have you ever lived at this particular place? Have you ever lived on this particular street? Have you ever had these particular numbers in your address? They may ask you any or all of those things. Sometimes, well, most of the times, they give you 4 options. So they'll ask you if you ever lived on Buchanan Street. They'll ask you if you ever lived on White Horse Manor. They'll ask you those kinds of things. And then they'll also ask you about the actual physical address. So have you ever lived at 3333? And so they'll ask you those things, and they may give you 4 options. So sometimes it's very confusing to some of us. And if you've ever filled out a credit application anywhere and used an address that maybe wasn't yours, that could be stuck on your credit report, and you'll have a tough time trying to figure out if this was one of your addresses or not. If you do not answer these questions, again, if you do not answer these questions correctly, they will not give you access to your credit report online. Again, you'll have to write and try to figure it out. So here's something else that I want you to be mindful of and look out for. You, besides knowing an old phone number potentially, or an old address potentially, and for you people that have been really transient, you've moved all over the place, or while you were in college, you moved 4 times, for 4 years that you were in college, or 5-year plan if you were like me in college, and you've moved a lot. Those addresses will be on your credit report, and it's potential that they may ask you about those. I know that I stayed for a summer in one particular place, and they asked me about that address, and I didn't remember the address, but the street was very familiar, so I was able to kind of get that together. But I'm letting you know, all of those things are in play for you. So they'll ask you something like this. If you've opened an account recently, they may ask, have you opened an account within the last 6 months? If you answer yes, they may follow up with a question that says, did you open an account in the last 6 months, and was it at First Federal? Was it at Macy's? Was it at Dillard's? Was it at Target? So they may ask you all of those things. So of course, I would think that you would remember. As long as you aren't going out and applying, like I always say, willy-nilly anywhere, then you should remember if you got a Macy's card recently, if you got a New American Express card, or if you got a Capital One card, or whoever it is, you should know that information. So they'll be asking you that as well. All right, so look, I'm going to take a pause for the calls right quick. It is, let's see, that's the top 3 things I wanted to tell you, and it's almost halfway point of the show. and I'm trying to get you out of here at 30 minutes like I'm supposed to do every Saturday, but it doesn't necessarily happen. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump to the question of the day in just a moment. Question of the day is brought to you by Cute as a Cupcake, Cupcakery and Bake Shop, where the cupcakes are more than just cute, they're delicious. Cute as a Cupcake is located at 2008 West